this is class tech T101. It's the first 4-hour class, and it's designed to, as we talked about at the very beginning, not trying to get into anything super detailed right now, apart from making sure that you completely understand the kind of tools and the things that you need in the shop to look for, as well as what we need to be inspecting the vehicle on, and I know you've been working in the industry now for a few years. So, what's your thoughts in regards to, the content that we've created on this very first one before we really get into some good stuff on the next one? Anything that really kind of stood out or helped you out on this?
Well, definitely. I mean, you got to start, I feel like, with the basis of maintaining your equipment and the rundown on upkeep of shop equipment and the proper way of lifting vehicles. That's like the best way to start anybody who's coming into this industry. And even for somebody who's been in this industry like me, I mean.
When we went to the bouncer, we went and covered a lot of the things with the tire changer, but primarily the tools. Make sure that you've got what you need to service valve stems and do other things without having to go all over the shop and waste time. That's one of the biggest fundamental things that I'm trying to really get people into a mindset that I'm not trying to train you for anything in particular, apart from opening your eyes and broaden your scope as to being so much more conscious of what's going on around you in both the shop, as well as what kind of vehicles might actually be brought into the shop to get serviced before we actually touch them.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And the equipment you could use, from the TPMS scanner to even before you want to get married to a vehicle, you pull something in, something like you said, don't sound right, look right, taste right, ask questions. And
that will bail you out of a lot of problems if you just stop and ask that question.
Yeah, no, I get that. That's that'll be a lifesaver for a lot of people coming into this industry.
Yeah. What do you think about the video on the lug nuts there?
Oh, that was really detailed. And what you learn, you wouldn't even think it's just a bolt and a nut, something very common, right? But there's so much going into it. To be able to have the wheel seat on the hub properly. You got all these people doing all these customizing things, and it's not meant to work like that. And we have to go behind them and try to find those hiccups, and you wouldn't ever think about looking for those issues before going to this course.
That's what I tell everybody. We got to be half MacGyver and half forensic files, man. You never know what's going to drop in our lap. That the outside world should be like, what, what's taking so long? It's just putting a tire on a rim, right?
We're trying to make sure they're safe going down the road, because what's worse than someone going down the road and the lug nut comes loose and they got the family in the car, comes back and bites you.
Yeah. And just, look at how many variations there are in the tire construction that affects the air pressure, which is exactly what we're going to cover in Tech 102 that I'm working on right now to be ready for the next one here in just the next month or so. And we will start to actually identify and do the calculations on identifying what is the load carrying capacity of the original tire at that air pressure, and how do I need to translate that, make the calculation into the replacement tire when it's significantly different from the original one, so that we don't wind up basically opening ourselves up to a lawsuit potential because we didn't know how much air pressure to put in a tire.
And another thing, the Euro spec or tires, the C tires.
Euro commercial
versus the LT. I truly didn't know the difference in that. And there's a tremendous difference, and especially when you are using them for work, heavy lifting, and commercial use.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And those are the things we're going to cover in detail on the next one. So I'm glad you were able to at least pull a lot of that out of this first one, even though we only kind of briefly touched on it just to make sure you are aware of it, and just be ready for the next one. If you enjoyed this one, and this was the entry level, wait till at least the next one when we really get into some meat and potatoes. It'll blow your mind, the kind of things I'm going to be teaching you. And this is the stuff that rarely is ever talked about, taught, or even known about in the industry, even though it's been around for decades. We have it in the certification class, but unfortunately, not everybody is able to stop and go do a 3-day certification class to learn that information. We're going to cover it. We're going to cover it in Tech 102 and do it in just 4 hours.
I like it. And a lot of that stuff's overlooked, but you go through it very thoroughly, and you didn't skip a beat. I was really impressed actually with this course you came up with.
I greatly appreciate that. I'm pretty proud of what we were able to accomplish. It's the first time we've ever had that in our industry, to be able to identify the real world stuff, not the, here's by the book, here's how a factory wheel and a factory lug nut and a factory offset wheel and factory tire, here's how to work on that. It's,
But
you know, how do I deal with a 6-inch lift, a 35-12-50, a negative 18 millimeter offset? And oh, by the way, we've got spline drive lug nuts on there, and there's no hub centric ring. So it's now a lug centric application. And I got to make all this come together correctly, make it ride right, perfect, and not fall off all at the same time. Just little things, just little stuff like that, right?
it makes the customer stay happy though.
Yeah, and keeps the lawyer out of our pocket too.
You're absolutely right.
All right, Alex, thank you so much for your time, brother. I greatly enjoyed it. I look forward to seeing you here in about a month or so, and we'll get that next one queued up, and we'll go into it.
Sounds good, Scott. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, brother. You have a great day.
You as well. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.